Good afternoon. It's time for the Central Florida Computer Society and Sarasota Technology User Group's Windows Special Interest Group, or WinSIG, for Sunday, November 12th, 2023. I'm Huey Poplock. I'm glad you're here. We've got a good crowd for a Sunday afternoon. Sunny here in Florida. Hope it's nice where you are. Of course, nice is relative to whatever area we are in. I have a lot of topics for today, and of course, they are posted on the WinSIG website at huey.net/WinSIG. And with that, I will stop the sharing. Okay, the first article is everything about OneDrive you should know, and it's from a website called Wondershare. Let me go ahead and make this larger. This was a good article, and you can download it. So if you have, if you have questions about OneDrive, or you're in a user group and your members have a lot of questions, this is a good place to get that information to use in one of your meetings to explain some of this. And it's everything about OneDrive you should know, and it's in 5 parts. What is OneDrive? How to access OneDrive, share or embed folders and files, how to save all Office files to OneDrive, and how to get more space. So for those of you who don't know, OneDrive can be defined to be Microsoft's online cloud storage platform. It was known as SkyDrive, but was rebranded in early 2014 due to a trademark issue raised by a UK-based broadcaster. OneDrive is integrated into Windows 8.1 and available as an app on Windows Phone, Windows, Xbox, iOS, Android, and even on the web. Using OneDrive, users can share photos, documents, videos, and all file types to this platform. Although this app doesn't come pre-installed with the operating system like Windows 8.1, this is wrong, because it does come now installed, and it's part of Windows 11, and I think was part of Windows 10 as well, and has to be downloaded separately. That's no longer true. However, Microsoft allows all users to sync their photos, videos, and settings synced with their OneDrive account. And so how do you access it? Well, if you want to know everything about OneDrive, then there are a few basic things you must know. In this part, we're going to discuss the most basic things relative to OneDrive. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but just some of these things in the beginning for those of you who want to have an idea what you can do with this. So you can sign into OneDrive. This is using Windows 10, which would be the same for Windows 11. In order to use OneDrive, you have to sign into your account on the PC. Follow the steps to sign into your OneDrive account. You have to double click on the OneDrive icon in the system tray of the taskbar, and you'll be shown the screen below. It'll look like this. And your system, yes.
I noticed the date on this thing is 2016.
Yeah, it is an older article, but a lot of things still should be similar. You just have to bear in mind, but it gives you an idea what OneDrive is and what you can do with it. So that's another reason not to go through this whole thing. But I thought it was a good article to have in your ammunition and for your own interest. And then what you can do is get some of the statements that are in it, and then go into either the Bing Chat would probably be the best place to go, because it's a Microsoft product, and then ask it questions about OneDrive in relation to what they say here to make sure you got the most up-to-date information. So let's go ahead, let's close that and go to the next article. And this is from September of 2021, so at least is more recent, and it's the Microsoft OneDrive cheat sheet. And again, it's information you can download. Let's get started. And there's lots of information there. individuals get 5 gigabytes of OneDrive storage for free. And then you can upgrade to 100 gigabyte storage, and it's about $2 a month. And if you have a Microsoft 365 plan, you get 1 terabyte of storage. So there's lots of room there if you want to have it. And it's a great place where you can do backups to it, and you can store some items. The one thing I do is you can pick and choose which items are going to be stored on your computer and on OneDrive, and then which ones you only want on OneDrive and which ones you don't want on OneDrive at all. So you have a choice, and learning how to do that is probably one of the first things you want to do, because if you got a large hard drive or SSD drive on your computer, you don't want to back the whole thing up if you only have 5 gigabytes, or if you only have 100 gigabytes of storage out there, and you got a couple of 100 gigabytes on your hard drive of data. So you want to pick and choose what's out there. And when you open up your Windows Explorer or Microsoft Explorer, you can see a little cloud. If it's out in the cloud, you'll see it designates where the file is located, whether it's in both or it's one or the other. And you can sync or unsync the desktop. Like anything I put on my desktop automatically gets synced with my OneDrive. So when I drag something to have for a meeting and I drag it to my desktop, I have a backup of it on my OneDrive. So if I have to turn around and open up a Chromebook or open up my iPad because my computer went to sleep on me or something happened to it, I can find those same files and use them from my OneDrive instead of from my hard drive.
One other thing to remember is that the newest feature in Windows 11, the backup to the cloud, that by default goes to OneDrive.
Yes, we'll take a break from the screen and see if there's any more discussion on that. There's a lot of things you could do with it as well. I have not played with the Windows backup, and that's something I want to try. I do use a third-party cloud backup called iDrive, which has nothing to do with the Apple world, but they have an I in front of it. And I think I forgot what I pay, but I've got, I think 5 terabytes of storage. And every night at 11 o'clock, it looks to see what I've got on my computer, what's out in the cloud, and what's not backed up on the cloud, it backs up. So I might add 24 or 50 files, and that's all. But it takes about an hour and a half to go through that procedure. So it does it from about 11 o'clock at night to about 12:30 in the morning. Walter, you have your hand up.
Yes, I've heard there's a new version of OneDrive coming out soon, but I haven't really read anything about it. Does anybody else know what's going to be in that and what it's going to do?
I haven't. And I don't think any of my articles have anything about that. Microsoft is going to have new versions of everything. There's a new Outlook coming out, which means those of us who know and use Outlook are going to have to learn something totally different. I think they change things it's kind of like the grocery stores. They rearrange things and put them in different places just to keep us on our toes.
Now, my wife keep us get her email and she uses Outlook with 365, and all of a sudden that she clicked on Outlook and it was a new Outlook and she had no idea what on earth it was.
Yep. Yeah, I tried the new one and I didn't like it. And so I went back to the original, but I don't think pretty soon I'm not going to have a choice. It's going to force everybody to go to the new one. Any other comments, questions? Okay, let's go back and continue. Okay, the next article is 11. Moment 4 update is causing various issues. However, there was an update to that. So I'm not sure if all these things are fixed or not, but I kind of held off on going to some of the updates because of this. But I believe there was an article. So this was back on the 1st, and of course that's almost a couple of weeks ago now. So I think there was another update this past Tuesday. And so, in fact, I think it was on a Thursday. So it must have been an emergency one. So this is an article that talks about some of the things that got updated. Restore your computer to the state it was in before the selected event. And that's the system restore. It's something that I forget sometimes to make sure it's turned on. And so I've got to go through this article. It's not a long article. So let's see what the next one is here. Windows 11 new AI features, how to use Paint, Clipchamp, snipping tool, and photos. So they're starting to put some of the AI things in some of the features in it's part of the Microsoft world. And you're going to start seeing more and more of these things happening, especially in the Office items and all of aspects of Microsoft, including the Copilot and so on. So lots of things happening with AI and Microsoft, as well as all of the other places where you go and check out. AI is becoming very much a part of our world and is changing the way things work. And now, how to use video auto composition with Clipchamp on Windows 11. If you're not familiar with Clipchamp, it's the video editing tool that Microsoft has now. It's free, and it's called Clipchamp. The app will help guide you with automated suggestions for the likes of scenes, edits, and narratives, but it's the auto compose feature that may prove the most useful for many users. Let's make that bigger here. Auto compose is available on the web and in the Microsoft Clipchamp desktop app. Microsoft says the media you add to Clipchamp is not used to train AI models. In other words, they're not going to steal information from your video and put it in as part of the searching that gives information to AI, which is an important fact. And all of the processing that takes place on the app or browser. The app's AI video editor, which Microsoft says is useful for everyone, can automatically generate slideshows, montage videos, and short videos in 1080p based on the photos and videos that you add to it. And if you don't like the first video that Clipchamp offers up, you can check out a different version instantly, since the app will generate multiple videos for you. Auto compose may also prove useful for professional video editors, Microsoft says, as the tool can generate several unique videos in the space of a few minutes. So if you haven't used Clipchamp, something to take a look at. Maybe I can put that on in the back of my head and try to remember to find a couple articles about it and talk about it at the next meeting. I do not use it because I use a professional video editing program called Camtasia, and I have been using it for several years. But if this is a video editing program that comes a part of Windows, and it will suggest a length for your video based on what it believes are the best combinations of your media. You'll be able to adjust the video length and aspect ratio before moving on. So you can create videos very easily using AI and Clipchamp. So might be something to play with between now and next month. And then you can come in and answer questions for me. So take a look at that article. It gives you quite a bit of information about Clipchamp. Microsoft has stopped giving users tips for Windows 11. I don't know if you remember. Let me make that bigger here. I don't know if you remember, but probably a year or two ago, I did a video on the feature because a lot of people didn't even know it existed. But it's an app called Tips for Windows, and they had a lot of different tips on how to use Windows. Well, apparently, for whatever reason, now they've decided they're going to do away with it. Now, in one of the articles I saw mentioned, let's see if it mentions in this article, Microsoft has not given any reason for its decision to kill off tips, so it's not clear whether the company has run out of tips and tricks to share, or if it thinks everyone is now familiar enough with Windows that it no longer is necessary. Of course, only what, 11%?
They've actually replaced it with something else. I forget exactly what it is, but they've replaced it with something.
Yeah, if you find out what it is, let me know. But if they think that everyone's familiar enough with Windows, it's no longer necessary. Number one, Windows 11, for instance, what's it? 11% of Windows of computers are using Windows 11. So it's a very small percentage of even those who are Windows users are using Windows 11, and it's for that. It's for that reason that we're starting to see more and more articles saying that Microsoft may be thinking about extending the life past 2025 of Windows 10, because there's so many businesses and companies that aren't updating to Windows 11. A lot of them don't have the computers that will run Windows 11, and they don't want to buy new ones because all the old ones are working fine to do what they need to do. So we'll have to see what's going to happen there.
There's quite a bit of chatter too that the 2025, the October 25 deadline for Windows 10 may very well be extended.
What I kind of alluded to in the last couple of sentences, but yeah, absolutely. And it's more a feeling generally that they're going to do it, but Microsoft hasn't said anything. But I think we're going to see that as well, because there's so many people on it and they don't need to move from it, and it's working fine for them. And that's, I think, one of the reasons also why the computer sales are down. Chromebook sales are down. The reason why, it's not that there's anything wrong. It's just our computers are lasting a lot longer than they used to.
Yeah, I had a customer pay me yesterday to downgrade them from Windows 11 back to Windows 10 again.
Wow.
And there's
Not
also
sure
talk
what.
that Copilot is coming to Windows 10.
Yep.
If you
And
bring
there's
all the
still-
features of 11 to Windows 10, then why upgrade to Windows 11? Although I have a computer that shouldn't run Windows 11 that's been running it for the last 3 years.
Well, in Windows 11, you got to remember, it's been out, what, 3-4 years now.
Yep.
And it's almost getting close to the end of its life. And there's talk about a Windows 12 coming out to replace it. But it's only talk. Microsoft has not said anything about that. A lot of speculation, but that's all it is speculation. Any other comments from anyone?
I heard that they're talking about making the Windows operating system a subscription service. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, there's been talk about that over the last couple of years, and I forecast, I think it was 2 years ago, might have been 3, that was coming, and I was wrong. And we do on Tech for Seniors each year, we do a forecast on what we think is going to be in the next year. And 1 year I did say that you're going to start seeing Microsoft as a subscription based. Well, they've got their Office now as that, and there's probably a good possibility they may do it for the operating system as well. Jolyn?
Yeah, I was looking at some of the chat and people saying they don't believe what AI says, and I understand that. I'm not interested in chatting. I think that, to me, chatting with that thing doesn't work for me. But I do use OpenAI Playground, the original one. I use Bard. I use Bing. And if I'm preparing tips or an article for the newsletter, or if I'm creating an outline for a presentation I'm giving, I use those and I create what I want to do. I use that tool to proof it, to recommend changes if needs be. And then I take that and integrate it into my own, into what I've already written, so that it's still my words, but they come out a little more smoothly. And I love that. Also, second thing was Clipchamp is for a freebie that comes with the computer. It's pretty good, so it's definitely worth checking out. And I'm sorry to see the tips go, because I really I've shared that with our members for years now, that Windows does that, and it's very helpful, and people forget. So I have a tip. I now have a tip on tips to give to the newsletter again.
And some of the tips have been pretty good too.
Yes.
I did a video on, and I went through the list of them, a list of them, and yes, I'm sorry to see it go. Yet I didn't use it much. And as far as the AI goes, there's two that I use. Let me share my screen again. And come back here. This is one that I use. And besides Bing, I like Perplexity. It's
Me too.
PERPLEXITY .ai. That's one I use, and every time I open up my browser, that's one of the tabs that opens. And the other one that I use is Claude from Anthrop, and that's very good as well. And that's Claude.ai, CLAUDE.ai. And I'll interchange them, and sometimes I'll use both and then kind of compare what I get for results and then intermingle them and edit and so on. But they're both very good, and I really like Bing a lot. And Bard, over the last just few weeks, they've upgraded how it's working, and the answers are a lot less hallucinations than it was. And so Bard has improved quite a bit as well. But those are ones that I really like. And let's see. So those two I use, and let's go to the next article. And that is Microsoft won't let you close OneDrive in Windows without explaining it first. So if you don't want to use OneDrive, you can close it. But if you do, it's going to ask you some questions. And one of the questions is, one of the
rolled
answers,
back, Huey. That's been rolled back. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Microsoft rolled it back.
But here are the questions. Let's see if I can make it bigger. That they were asking. It says, I do not want OneDrive running all the time. I do not know what OneDrive is. I do not use OneDrive. I'm trying to fix a problem with OneDrive. I'm trying to speed up my computer. I get too many notifications or other. So those were the choices. And now, as Bob said, they have decided not to do this. But if you were going to go ahead, quit OneDrive, it did ask you some questions. Copilot. Let's see here. Let's full screen this. What I just do. There we go. Okay, what is Copilot? Windows is the first PC platform to provide centralized generative AI assistance to you. Together with Bing Chat, Copilot in Windows helps you bring your ideas to life, complete complex projects, and collaborate instead of spending energy finding, launching, and working across multiple applications. Do more quicker than ever with Copilot in Windows. So important, Copilot in Windows is currently available as a preview. Microsoft says they will continue to experiment with new ideas and methods using your feedback. Copilot in Windows is being released in preview to select global markets as part of our latest update to Windows 11. And it's going to be coming to Windows 10 as well. The initial markets for the Copilot and Windows Preview include North America and parts of Asia and South America. It's our intention to add additional markets over time. At Microsoft, we're guided by our AI principles, our responsible AI standard, and decades of research on AI, grounding and privacy-preserving machine learning. Data privacy and security is a key principle of responsible AI. And so it tells you how to get started with it, how to interact with it. There is still no talk on how much it's going to cost. Is it going to be extra? Is it going to be built into Windows? I know on the enterprise, for the big corporations, they're paying, I think, either $20 or $30 per seat per person to use Copilot. And there's talk that it's going to be extra. If you're a Microsoft 365 user, it's going to be something like $10 a month or $100 a year. So if you're paying $100 for Microsoft 365 to use Copilot, it's going to end up being $200 for the year. So it can get expensive, and that's you're getting close then to having an operating system that's subscription based. See what else it says. Chatting with Copilot in Windows. So it tells you a little bit how you can do it. Copilot with Bing Chat. So if you don't want to use Copilot, just use Bing Chat. That definitely doesn't cost anything. And for now, I guess it's not going to. So this is what it looks like. And you can ask it anything. Change Windows settings. In the chat pane, try any of these. Turn on dark mode. Mute volume. Change wallpaper. Perform common tasks in the chat pane. Take a screenshot and set a focus timer for 30 minutes, or open File Explorer, or snap my windows. That means push them over to one side or the other. Launch troubleshooters. Why isn't my audio working? My camera isn't working. I can't update my device. So these are things that you can do in Copilot to ask it, and it'll give you answers. So
it can actually perform a function.
Yes.
I used it just for the heck of it to open up the Chrome browser.
And the thing about it is that it's doing a lot of things that those of us who are members of user groups are giving answers to people. They don't need us for some of these things now. So they're doing away with some of our jobs.
But they still have to learn how to use it. And that's
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm kind of joking about that, but in a way, when people send me an email, how do I do this? I mean, what do? I go into Copilot or one of the other AI programs and put in the same question, and I get an answer. If it looks like it's a true answer, I will then take part of it and then send it back to them and say, "Here's how you do it." And I look very smart. So by all means, all of these AI things, when people ask you a question, they can ask it to an AI chat and get the same answers. Copilot isn't available to individuals under 13 years of age, or if you're signed in with a local account. Okay, let's see what else it says in here. Microsoft's commitment to responsible AI and privacy, and they want to hear from us to be able to improve it, because it is a beta or preview version. Windows Task Manager, the complete guide. Do you use Task Manager? Have you ever opened it, taken a look at it? Well, this article, and again, for some of us who do a lot of speaking for our groups, this might be a good article to take and use as a way to, I'm making it bigger here. Come on. Let me close this up. So you can also right click an application in this window to access more options, switch to, end task, run tasks, and that's using this. You can go into task manager, you can end a task, run a new task, and so on what's running. But there's also all kinds of other things. It'll tell you how much CPU you're using and memory you're using. And then it explains all the tabs. So this is a really good article to see what it is. Now, what is Task Manager? Well, let me minimize this. One of the ways you can get to Task Manager, why is this over here? I'll move it over there. I don't know if you could see it, but I could. So let's right mouse click on the Start menu. And you see that you've got a lot of the power items here, and we're going to go to the Task Manager. And it should open up. I got a lot of things going, so there we go. Move it over here so my camera isn't covering up some of the items. So you can see it shows me how much of my CPU I'm using, how much memory I'm using, how much of the disk and network it's using. And so you can see that you can sort this. This is by app, so it does it alphabetically, or you can sort it by the CPU usage. What's using the most CPU? Well, it looks like Google Chrome is using a lot of my memory and a good portion of my CPU.
Look at how many tabs you have open.
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So that's 43 is, and I've got 64 gigabytes of memory, and
Wow.
and so it's using a lot of it. And then Irfan View is actually using some, but I'm not using it. It's in the background. I have it open because that's what the logo is, the screen logo. And you can see it's changing as we're doing things because it's live. This is going to snapshot. This is exactly what's going on now. If I want to change it by CPU, I can sort it. And then if you sort it again, it does it from the other end. Same thing with memory and disk usage and network. But some of the other things is your app history. But what I like is your startup. This is where you can see what's in your startup apps. If it says enabled, every time you open your computer or turn it on, all of anything that says enabled will start up automatically. It may only be a little bit of information to get to real quick, but not all of these things need to be enabled. And then I've disabled some. These were in the startup, but I said, well, I really didn't need it. And so I disabled it. Items that I no longer use, or programs I don't use much that I don't need. I don't need it to start before I need to use it. And so I've got a lot of things disabled. So you can take any of these, and let's say I don't want clip to start. I can click this enabled and tell it disable it, and then when I start my computer, it won't start it automatically. I'm going to have to manually start it. And then there's users in details. I'm not sure what's in details. Not much, unless it's out there looking. Yeah, there it is. And tells it whether it's running and what it's using, and it also tells you what it's part of. So sometimes if you got something running and you don't know what it is, sometimes you can come here and you can see that this file is part of Zoom. So if you don't want to stop it, or Zoom may not work properly, And then same with the processes. You can look at those. And that's what we did look at. So that's the task manager, a very, very important part of your system. But this is a good article on what it's, explains it. And so someone can read that article and say, oh, good, let's go ahead and take parts of this and make it part of your meeting. This is, what it is, what it's used for, and what it can tell you. What the user accounts currently signed into your PC. How many resources is it using? The startup list, as I showed you, it's a list of startup programs, which are the applications Windows automatically starts when you sign into your user account. You can disable startup programs from here, although you can also do that from settings, apps, and startup. And same with the app history, performance, and so on. So you can see what these different things are telling you and your users, and you can help them understand what Task Manager is. So this is a good article to have in your arsenal, and to make a meeting out of. And let's see what my next article is, and maybe we'll go back to discussions. Ads get in the way. How to make a bootable Windows 10 USB drive. Now, why would you want to have a bootable Windows 10 or 11 USB boot up drive? Well, if you ever come to the situation where your system won't boot, but you can get to the drive, you want to be able to get to that drive and maybe back up some of the files that you haven't backed up, or maybe fix Windows. And one way to do that is make a bootable Windows 10 USB drive. And this will tell you how to do it. These ads keep getting in the way here. Let's see if we got the. Oh no, that's share. I should have done this in Bing, and I could have used the article. Anyway, what do you need to make a bootable drive, how to create it, and how to create a bootable Windows USB drive with Rufus. Now, I'm not familiar with Rufus, but what you need is, of course, a flash drive or USB drive. And if you're creating a USB drive in a Mac Linux or using Rufus, the requirements are similar. You want to have at least an 8 gig flash drive. You can buy, I would recommend a 32 gigabyte just in case. And then you can update it later on if you need to. And then it tells you how to create it. And there's
when I did it through Windows, it required a 16 gig.
Yeah, I thought they increased it. And it'll create a Windows 10 installation media. And gosh, it wants to show ads, doesn't it?
Yep.
But it's a media creation tool, and you just create it. And so we'll close this, and we'll stop the share for a moment, see if there's any comments.
With Rufus, if you get it on 10, you have the ability to download various old versions of 10 should you need them. But in addition, the Rufus will provide persistent storage on the flash drive where you can save files, settings, etc. within the limits of the flash drive.
And Rufus is a free program?
Yes, but it only works on Windows.
Okay. Stephanie, you've got your hand up.
Yes, has anybody tried this for Windows 11?
Tim?
As far as making the flash drives, this media creation tool, which is what's being referred to in the article, is been available for 10 and 11 for ever since they've been out.
It's
So it
part of
should-
the operating system.
So it should work. Okay.
It
Thank
does
you.
work.
Okay. For 11. Thank
Yep.
you.
Jim Glass, you got your hand up.
You're muted.
There you go. Got me?
Yep.
Yeah, for the lady with the backup, that should be the first thing you do when you get a new computer is make that bootable drive. Just for
Yeah.
safety's sake.
Absolutely.
The other question I had was you keep talking about asking questions to these chat and Copilot and what have you. Is that through a keyboard or is there a universal verbal means of talking? I used to use what was it, Dragon Naturally Speaking, and that worked on just about everything. Do they have something now that's similar to that?
To activate Copilot, once you have it on your system, use the Windows key and the C key, and that starts the Copilot on the right-hand side of your computer because it splits your screen. And
But
then you have voice input as part of what you can do. There's a microphone. Hit the microphone, you can do voice.
Yeah.
They
give you they give you a little icon of a microphone to click on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah,
cross-platform? Like, I mean, will it work on Chrome as Firefox as well as?
No.
Chrome has its own. In Chrome, Google has its own audio search. You just have to click the icon. I talk to my computer all the time. If I'm dictating, it depends on what I'm using, but Word, you can automatically dictate in Word. You can use the accessibility tools in Windows to access the voice activation. So, I mean, there's all kinds of things. It really depends on what you want to do.
Yeah.
Windows key and H gets you voice.
Right. Windows key and H I use that all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'll check that out.
I've got it on the screen, but it's taking a long time to load because I got so much going on my computer.
Yeah.
And Zoom and Chrome take a lot. Yep. That's right again.
No, it's loading now.
Yeah, it said it was too, but it didn't.
It failed the first time.
Yeah. It shouldn't take that long.
With all stuff you got running, probably.
Mine took a little bit to load just a few minutes ago. So yeah, it's being sluggish today.
I'll close it.
Speaking of closing, I've had trouble closing my settings windows in Bing or whatever the Windows operating system is. They don't have that little red X anymore. You got to look on the taskbar and somehow close the window down there.
Are you talking about the Windows settings?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can open those up. There's an X here.
Yep.
It's not on my machine.
What you might want to do is check to see, you notice how mine's moving around. Make sure you don't have it up here where it doesn't show. But mine's got it right there.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, well, when I
Okay.
was trying to set up my Bluetooth, for example, I got the window, but I couldn't close it until I went down to the taskbar and right-clicked on it, and there was a little thing that says close window. That was the only way I could get rid of the darn thing.
Okay, can you see Copilot down
Yes.
here in the right where it says
Yes.
use microphone?
Yep.
Do you see it, Jim?
No. And that's
Yeah.
not you, it's me. I'm having vision loss, so I don't see
Okay,
everything.
right where it says ask me anything. Well, I just moved it over.
Oh yeah, I see it. I
It's-
see it.
And then right next to it is a microphone.
Okay.
And all you have to do is click that and you can speak into it.
Now that's in the window in what is it, that in Bing or
That's
Explorer?
Copilot. That's Copilot.
Copilot. Okay. Okay.
In
I guess
Bing,
I'll have to play with it.
and in Bing, Bing Chat GPT. Oh, I didn't want that, but I get to it anyway. I have shortcuts for all this stuff, but I need a shortcut to keep track of my shortcuts.
That's called a cheat sheet.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
it is loading.
Yeah, well, I've because I'm losing my sight, I'm having to use more and more verbal commands. I mean, like on my Samsung phone, I can, say hello, hey Google, and talk to it.
Yeah,
You'll see right here it says ask me anything, and where it over on here on the right is use microphone. So even in the Bing chat.
Yep.
and anywhere you are typing with your keyboard at any time, Jim, you can substitute that with the Windows key and the letter H.
Windows.
And it'll put it into Windows dictation mode, and anything you say will be inputted into whatever text window you happen to be in.
And that'll include Gmail?
Gmail, chat sessions, browsers, Notepad, Word, anything.
Okay, that's good to know, because like I say, I'm losing my vision, so I
Think of
need
that as a
something.
replacement or substitute for Dragon.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Did we lose Huey?
I don't know. I'm looking for Huey. I
It
noticed
says Stan.
it
I just got a
froze.
message pop up on my
Yeah.
screen that said Stan is now the host.
Yeah, I see it too.
Then
Huey
we lost
was
Huey.
frozen.
Yeah, he was
His
frozen.
computer must have cronked
Yep.
out.
He'll be back in a minute.
Can I ask a question while we're waiting for him?
Why
Go
not?
right ahead.
When you create a USB boot drive, do you have to update that boot drive as Windows gets modifications and updates?
No, because it's only a thing to get in. Now, if you're on 10 and now you change to 11, you should create a new one for Windows 11. But outside of that, no, you don't have to. Because
Well,
it's only a means to get into the basics for the operating system to do what you need to do afterwards.
well, generally you do want to have a new version as you go to new versions of Windows, whether it's 10 or 11, such as
That's what I said.
H2, 22H2, and eventually 23H2.
Right. There was a Windows installer disk for Windows 10 that was a 21H2 installer disk, and then now there's a 22H2. So they do periodically change them. That's on a not very often. But your other option is to create what's called recovery media for your computer, which is what I do because it includes all of the hardware and drivers that you have installed on your computer. It's a custom version of Windows reinstaller just for you. And that's called a system restore disk. You can completely recuperate your machine that way as well.
Thank you.
Walter, your hand is up, but before you go, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I disappeared.
Yep, we did.
And
Oh, yes, we noticed.
and then I waited, and it logged me right back in. I didn't have to do anything, and it brought me right back into Zoom. So and it's still recording. It may have chopped it a second or two, but I'm back. Anyway, Walter, you have your hand up.
Yes, you mentioned using thumb drives and USB drives. I've been listening to Steve Gibson, Security Now and Twit Network, the podcast, and he's run into a bunch of flash drives that are being sold on Amazon that they'll say they're X amount or 10X amount or whatever storage. And you actually do a check and for properties and it'll report what they're claiming. But then when you try and load the drive to it, the data to it and recover the data, it only has a small amount of that storage actually there.
I got one right in my hand like that.
To check for these drives, I put a link in the chat. They're very, apparently they're very cheap. Apparently people are giving them for promotions thinking they're good drives and they're just simply fakes.
The old adage of you get what you pay for pretty much describes what's happening. You
Right.
can't get 128 gigs for $5. It doesn't work. And that's what they're selling these things for. Really cheap with lots of storage, and it's just not there.
And what you
do is they take an SD card and put that in an enclosure and call it a 16 terabyte. And there is no such thing as a 16 terabyte portable SSD.
What they're doing too is when you get to where the actual limit is, let's say it's 32 gig, but it says it's a terabyte. Well, when it gets to the 32, it just doesn't stop filling up. It just tell you, oh yeah, it saved that file, but it won't save it, or it may just save the title. And when you go back to try to get it, there's nothing there. It's an empty file. And so it can be deceiving, and you want to check, especially some of these off brands that you can get. I know back a few years ago when Dave Williams was alive, he discovered a few of these and told me about it. And I ordered some. He ordered some that were like a terabyte, and then we started seeing articles about them saying, no, you didn't get what you thought you got what you paid for. And like Bob said, which is definitely not what I was expecting. And so I had several of those drives, and I ran some tests, but some of those tests to test them would run for days because it checked everything in it. And but they didn't have the space they said they did. Okay, any other comments?
These are not a brand name, are they?
Not generally, but they can fake the brands on them too.
Right.
So you need to be careful where you buy them, and then double check them too.
Well, I bought them at Amazon, and they're called Scan Disc, and then they weren't cheap. They were the normal price.
Yeah, then you probably were all right.
Yeah, I wanted them for door prizes.
Yeah, Steve listed a number of links to the ones on Amazon that are bad. And again, I put the link to his article in the chat.
Oh.
Okay, speaking of the chat, let's go take a look at it here. There were some things here. Jolyn said, I use AI, Open AI Playground, Bard and Bing to review and proof tips I'm writing for our newsletter and programs I'm giving presentations on. It's very helpful. Yeah, and you can take articles that you've written and tell it, okay, clean it up with good grammar, good punctuation, correct spelling, and so on, and reword for good grammar. And it will do that and not give you information that's not true because it's using what you wrote. And she also said Clipchamp is a good freebie, but she also uses Camtasia like I do, and Ron does. And let's see, I always introduce our members to the Windows tips, and she'll miss that feature. Okay, Windows 12 is, this is Bill Morgan. Windows 12 is probably going to be a paid subscription. That's what I'm hearing as well. And then Movie Maker was the best for videos. Movie Maker was a very good program from Microsoft, and they
It's
did
still
away
available.
with it. It still is, but I think it was what version from Windows 7, I believe.
Yeah, it's an older version.
Yeah. And then Diane said, I like AI for fun things and graphics. Yeah, I use it a lot for graphics. When I'm writing an article and I want a picture to go with it, I put in what the subject is and let it create a picture for me. And then I don't have to worry about any copyright issues. And I got a nice picture. And if I don't like it, I tell it to do another one until I get a good picture. And so I had to do a flyer for one of my organizations that I belong to, and they were doing a fish fry Friday. I couldn't find any good pictures of fish on a plate for a dinner. And so I had to create some, and did a nice job. So there's a lot of uses for the AI pictures that you don't have to worry about it not being accurate. And I know Ron's been doing some really good, they're not cartoon, but you can tell they're obviously drawn pictures, but of various subjects, and they're excellent. So there's a lot of uses for AI that you don't have to worry about it being true or not true. And then let's see what else Diane had to say here. It gave a fairly good outline to get started. Yeah, it's good for outlines. Absolutely. If you're going to write on a topic, just tell it to do an outline. What should I cover in an article about such and such? And it'll give you all the topics to cover. Because I inevitably will write an article or get ready for a presentation. I left a whole section out. It just didn't pop into my mind until I was either playing it or till somebody asked a question about it. Where if I use AI to say, well, give me an outline of the things I should cover in that topic, it'll do it. And let's see, it's a good for getting started on a project, but you definitely need to verify everything. Absolutely. I'm also somewhat concerned to what the bad part of AI will be and what will happen in the future. Yeah, because there's a lot of these people who do TV shows, and we're going to discuss the CBS interview of the AI, the guy that's considered the godfather of AI, and his concerns of the future. There's a lot of people like that out there, and so to be concerned about it, it's a valid issue. But of course, the news articles and the TV programs and so on, they sensationalize everything, so they're going to take the bad points to get your attention. So don't take everything they say as the only answer. Currently, just look at how many careers and jobs are concerned about AI replacing them. But there's also articles about all the new jobs they're creating. Mm-hmm. And then some of the jobs aren't being done away with. They're redoing what they need to do for that job. So if people who are in the workforce aren't willing to make changes, they may lose their job. But if they're willing to make changes, then AI will be a benefit for their job, and maybe get them more money because they're good at it. And so I know teachers, some teachers just don't want AI. They don't want their kids plagiarizing and coming up with articles, but some of them are using AI as part of the education process. And because of that, the kids are using AI to build things and to and when I say build things, build articles or do articles, but they're only using it as a tool. You know, I can remember when we were kids, first we couldn't use, we had to use dip pens, and we couldn't use ballpoint pens. And then when calculators came out, they were $100 a piece, but you could add a whole bunch of things and then get the answers. Well, you couldn't take a calculator into class. Now it's a tool for your classroom. And same thing with computers. You know, they got computers now in classes where they can look things up during a class if they need to. So as things change, as the tools change, we need to change the processes of what we do. And that's what we're doing. And we don't want to get like a lot of members of our groups, and it might be some of you don't want change. Well, you know, it's coming whether you want it or not. And so the best thing to do is learn about it. And learning about it is what we seniors need to be doing. And I'm guessing that most of us are seniors on here, but what we seniors need to be doing is using our minds. It's good for us. And so to learn these new things and not sit there and play a Wordle all day long or play solitaire all day long. They are good break programs to take a break with it, but learn new things, try new things, and that keeps your mind going. Enough of my pontificating.
Our brains are a muscle, and you got to exercise the muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yep. You know, that's why a lot of us are in computer groups. We are using it. We aren't the ones that I'm talking to, that some of the people in your neighborhoods or in your groups or in places that you are members of, fraternal groups and veterans groups and other groups where you know a lot of people, the most they do on a computer is play solitaire. And you certainly you aren't like that because you're here. But you know, it's not good for you just to let your mind go to waste. What was it? A mind is a terrible thing to waste, and waste is a terrible thing to mind. Okay, let me see if I can share my screen again. Here's introducing the new Bing, an article about it, and some things that you can do. And it gives you some ideas to play with it. You know, coming up with how you use some of these things is the hardest thing. So here is, you know, here's I need to throw a dinner party for 6 people who are vegetarian. Can you suggest a 3-course menu with a chocolate dessert? And you click on, you put that in Bing, and Bing will give you an answer. Help me plan an anniversary trip, or what ideas can I do with my kids, or my nephew is coming to visit me. What are some things at 11 years old he's going to be interested in? And it'll give you some help with anything you want. It is amazing. And if you don't like the idea, you can either reword it or enter it again, and you'll get something a little bit different. So by all means, try playing with some of these. Help me find a pet. How do I pick the best dog breed for me? How to find a music festival. I need a fast car. I want a car that will do certain things. What cars fit that category? And so on. So you can do almost anything you want with Bing or any of the other AI programs. Let's see where we are here. No, I don't want to do that. Continue to cite. Microsoft needs to get serious about its Windows 10 upgrade problem. And that's going back to what we were talking about, the fact that Windows 10 the end of it is like 2 years away, October 2025. So now less than 2 years away. Microsoft will stop issuing security updates for Windows 10 PCs. And Microsoft will be abandoning most PCs on the planet. are they ready to do that? 1 billion estimate comes from two sources: Microsoft, which has said there are more than 1.4 billion Windows PCs, and StatCounter, which shows the vast majority of PCs on the planet, more than 70%, run Windows 10.
Mm-hmm.
Worse yet, this isn't like when Microsoft stopped supporting Windows 7. Those PCs could upgrade to Windows 10. But this time around, many Windows 10 PCs won't support Windows 11, at least not officially. So if you can't afford to buy a new PC, you'll be left out in the cold after the 14th of October 2025. So from a security perspective, it'll be as if you were using Windows XP or Windows 7. So will they extend the deadline? And there's a lot of thought out there that they might. Sheer numbers. So this article goes on: can businesses pay for a stay of execution? Right now, when they updated, I think, was it from 7 to 10, businesses could pay extra to have security updates. It was quite expensive for them, but if they wanted to stay, they could. Well, is that going to happen again with Windows 10, or are they just going to cut it off, or are they going to let it continue and continue to support it? And many PCs can unofficially run Windows 7, 11, as Bob will attest to. One reason this transition is so jarring is that most PCs have no official upgrade path to Windows 11. Except does Windows 11 have those strict hardware requirements? Really? Unofficially, there are a lot of ways around them. You can upgrade an unsupported PC to Windows 11, and many people have. Microsoft warns that there may be damage to your PC due to lack of compatibility, that your PC will no longer be supported and won't be entitled to receive updates if you do this. So, Microsoft may be downplaying that ability. But a few years after the release of Windows 11, many people have now upgraded with unsupported PCs to Windows 11 with no problems. Kozlowski said he upgraded an old Surface Book to Windows 11 and it's running fine. He recommends people who want to keep old Windows 10 PCs in service start there. So this article is about that. So some of you who are still running Windows 10 and are on machines that right now Microsoft says can't run Windows 11, they might be able to, or there might be some workarounds by then.
Yeah, that's one of the things that software Rufus can do. It enables you to create a Windows 11 installation media on unsupported hardware.
And Rufus, is it a freebie?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and you just do a search for Rufus and see where it is. Okay, any other comments, questions? We got about 5 more minutes. I still have an article or two yet to cover.
I didn't force my system to upgrade to 11. I was an insider on Windows 10, expected the next insider update for Windows 10, and miraculously wound up with Windows 11. And I've been there ever since. So, it's not something I did. It's something Microsoft did.
Yep. Tim, you got your thumb up. You got a question, comment?
I got the same thing that I was an insider on 10. I haven't gone to an insider on 11 yet, but I've been an insider for a long time, that going back before 10 got released.
Yep.
And all of a sudden on the machine one day, I got 11, and I'm on 11 unsupported.
Correct. Same here.
And the funny part is, most people, if they've got a Intel-based computer, have an Intel Core CPU in their system. I have the predecessor called a Core 2 a quad.
Wow.
So it goes back to like 2008 or 9.
Yeah, we all have different machines and different things, and sometimes those things click, and you get lucky. Sometimes you don't. Okay, let's go back to share my screen again, and I think I got an article to a left. Google Chrome gets a quick way to see how much memory each tab has. So if I look at the different tabs up here, let's see if it does it. You'll know, I hope you can see that at the top. It says Google Chrome rolling out per tab memory usage. That's the article. And it shows that the memory usage is 62.1 megabytes. And on this one, it's 309 megabytes for that article. And this one's 169. If you look down here, it shows you that. So each tab, you can tell how much memory it's using. So I don't know what good that does us, but
That's a
it's
ton of
there.
memory for one tab.
Yeah, some of them are using a lot of memory. And well, I think it's a lot of memory compared to some of the other ones. I have no idea what it should be or what you would expect. So, but when I open up 15 or 20 tabs, each one of those is using memory. And so no wonder in the middle of a Zoom meeting, all of a sudden Zoom just closes and restarts. Okay, so
Louis, can you get to Brave and Leo, please?
Okay. Let me read it first. Why is this here? Let me read it first. There we go. I don't know what that is. Come on. That's a newsletter. Okay. Oh, there's the article. Okay. This is Brave introduces Leo, an artificial intelligence assistant that can help with all sorts of tasks, including real-time summaries of web pages or videos. And it, let's see, make this bigger. Brave, the renowned browser for developer, has unveiled its native AI assistant Leo, alongside the release of desktop version 1.6, powered by Meta Llama 2 as its underlying model. Leo responds to user queries based on the content of web pages. Let's bring up Brave. Take a look at it. And let me see what version I'm running. It said 1.6, right? So let's see, help and about Brave. I'm running 1.6. So let's see if there's Leo right there. I click on it. Show Leo icon in the sidebar. We've got that there. This is in settings now. Show suggested prompts in the conversation, and it's using Llama 2.13b, and then clear the data. Okay, so we're able to use it. So let's go back to close the settings and
hit the back arrow.
Yeah, that probably would have been the best, but here we go. Okay, so let's see. I don't use, let's see where I can see where the icon is for Leo. Anyone see it? Customize settings.
I'm waiting for you to find it because I couldn't find it either.
What in okay, Leo the lion is the only thing I can think of. There are two little icons in the address bar on the right hand side. Is that Leo?
Brave shields.
Okay, okay, so that's not it.
Well, let's,
Is there a side, it said something about being in the sidebar. I don't see a sidebar. Is there a way to open a sidebar in Brave?
view and margin bookmark.
Click on the three dot or three line and see if you
here?
can get sidebar.
Unlock the phone, but there isn't, to my knowledge, any way to get straight to the camera.
Somebody's got a radio or TV on.
Oh, sorry.
Huey, there
Yeah.
is a sidebar option button. It
Where?
looks like a box with half white, half black, split down the middle, right
This-
there.
This one right there.
There we go.
But I don't.
And then
you'll
check
fi-
out the icons on the panel there.
Yep, and there's Leo.
Excellent.
There it is.
Thank you.
Leo Premium's $15 a month. Okay, hi, I'm Leo. I'm a fully hosted AI assistant by Brave. I'm powered by Llama 13B, a model created by Meta, which is the Facebook, Instagram company, to be pre-formatted, per format, and applicable to many use cases. Unlock the full potential. Okay, and then go premium, or you can ask it anything. Somebody give me a question.
What time is it?
Why do they think it's worth $15?
What time is it? The current time is Sunday, November 12th at 2:48. So we're running late and I need to end this pretty soon. But how do I
Excellent question, Andy.
iPad 9th gen? And there's your directions. So that's built right in. It's not using the same information that Bing uses or a Chat GPT uses. It's using its own information. And so there you go. And that's how you use Leo.
Does it look correct?
Press and hold the sleep wake button and the volume down button at the same time. Release the buttons when the screen flashes. I believe so. And the volume down. I think I used the home button and not the down, but well, let's see. I got it right here. Okay, so if I do the down and the sleep wake. No, it's the home button. Yep. It's the home button on this one. There's different models, and I think this is for the other models. It didn't work for me, but then I tried the home button and it did. So this is not totally accurate, but it will be for some iPads. Okay, on that note, I am going to stop the share. No, I shouldn't do that. Darn it. Any last comments? And then I will share my screen once again.
Just want to say thanks again for having me. And I always enjoy what you bring to this particular community. Thank you, Huey.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you being here.
Mhm.
And
There we go.
this has been the Central Florida Computer Society and Sarasota Technology User Group, Windows Special Interest Group, or WinSIG, for Sunday, November 12th, 2023. I'm Huey Poplock. We had a nice group and a lot of good discussions. And by all means, visit the WinSIG website at huey.net/WinSIG. And all of the articles with links to the articles are posted there. And when the video of this presentation, of this meeting, is ready, it will be uploaded to YouTube, and you'll have the link to it on that webpage as well.